Hey everyone, so in this Python video we will be taking a look at how we can use Python dictionaries. So to begin with, let's take a look at how we can actually initialize empty dictionaries. Now to initialize empty dictionaries there are two methods. So this is the first method, so basically assigning a dictionary into a variable. So empty dictionary equals dict and then printing this empty dictionary. So what happens when we print this empty dictionary is we get two curly braces, and this is the representation of a empty dictionary. So the other way of doing this is I'm going to have the same variable, have the curly braces, and then do a print statement on this. Now when we run it, we get another empty dictionary. So this is just two ways of initializing an empty dictionary. So whichever method you use, make sure to be consistent because it helps with code readability and understanding. So now that we know how to initialize an empty dictionary, let's take a look at how we can actually populate items into the dictionary. So I'm gonna have a let's see. So populated dictionary for short, and then we need to have our curly braces, and inside of it we can have a key. So the key can be either an integer, string, or a list, or even a dictionary, but you'd use the keys to make it a little bit easy to read. So the reason we have a key is because dictionaries work such that given a key you get a specific value. Now I'm going to assign a list to this value. So actually let me just have, I'll just have a list, and this list is going to have 1, 2, and 3, and we can go ahead and put another key. So animal, then have a list of. So now what happens when we print this dictionary is we get this right here. So the way this works is you get a key and you have a value. So this is known as a key value pair, and this right here is one dictionary item. This right here is the second dictionary item, and you'd separate the key and the value using a colon. So what we can also do with dictionaries is access these values. So in order to access these values, you'd need to put in the key. So in this case I have a key named key, and I want to access the values that are on the key. So when I run this program, I get 1, 2, 3, because after using the word key, you get 1, 2, 3. Now if I wanted to access the animals list, simply rename that to animal, and now I can access the values that are related to the animal key. You could use integers in here as well, that's not a problem. Now we can also take a look at how we can use loops to go over values in a dictionary. So let's take a look at how we can go through each key in this dictionary. So to do a for loop, we need a for, and then I can have a variable in here. So key in my dictionary name, so pop dictionary dot keys, and then we can do a print statement on the key. So what this does is this right here gets only the keys. So we have two keys, and assigns each key in this variable called key, and every time we go over this, key will be here, animal will be in here, and we're going to print it. So I'm going to run this, and now we get key and animal because we know we have two keys in this dictionary. Now another thing we could do is go over each value. So similar to the for loop above, we can do for value in pop dict dot values colon print value. Now we run this, now we get 1, 2, 3 cat dog mouse, so pretty much value, so each value in this dictionary. Now we can also use the for loop to get both the key and the item. So I'm just going to comment these out over here. Now we can do a for key comma value in pop dict dot items. So this basically goes through each key and value. Now I can do a print key value run this program. Now I get, for this corresponding key I have these values, and this corresponding key I have these values. So pretty much I could also do something like this. So pop dict, run this, and I basically get the values. So you don't really need the value in there. So that's for looping in dictionaries. I'm just going to get rid of these ones over here. Now let's take a look at how we can actually check if certain items such as values or keys exist. So for this I'm going to add another another element. So I'm just going to do name colon, and I'm going to have a simple name. So now let's take a look at how we can check if a certain key exists in a dictionary. So say I wanted to check if the key name exists. Simply put it name in pop dict, and now I run this and I get true. So what it does is it looks for this key in each key over here. So obviously name exists, so it's going to show me that it's true. So essentially this expression results in a return value of a true or false. Now if I go ahead and do names and run this, it's going to be a false because I don't actually have the key names in here. So another thing that's exactly similar to this but in different syntax is basically this right here. So pop dict dot keys, and I print names in the keys, we get nothing. So if I go ahead and change this to name, you get a true. So we could try one more thing. So we can just copy this John Smith and put it in here and in here. So we get a false because we don't have John Smith in our key. Now we could also use a similar method to check for values in the dictionary. So do another print statement, and inside of this we could put John Smith in populated dictionary dot values. Run this and we get a true return because the value John Smith exists in this dictionary. Obviously if we were to have name, which is a key, run this, we're going to get false because name doesn't exist anywhere in here. So the same goes with lists. So if you wanted to look for a list, it has to be the same. So this right here is an exact copy of this. Even if you have an extra space in here and run it, you're going to get a false because obviously this right here, the contents of the list do not match this one right here. So obviously not going to get a true. So let's take a look at how we can do item assignments. So let's use the empty dictionary. So to assign a blank value or some value into the dictionary, you simply have to call the dictionary. So empty dictionary and square brackets equals. So in here we are going to have a key. So we could name this key whatever. So we could do food, and we can have a list in here with stuff like meat. What else? Apples and oranges. So now when we actually run this empty dictionary, which is no longer empty, we get the first element in a dictionary which has been populated. So for the given key food, we have these values in here. Now say I wanted to change oranges to maybe a pear, I could simply change it like such. So calling the dictionary again, giving the key food equals food, and then since it's a list, we need to see which item oranges is in. So this is 0, 1, 2. So always remember with lists, I went over it in the lists video. It's basically index notation. So to get this item right here, it'll be 0, 1. This one would be 0, so it's not actually 1, 2, 3. So now that we have this item over here, we could change it to pair by doing that. And now when we run this empty dictionary, you can see from oranges to pear. So first to quickly explain this to you, this expression or statement right here, first it gets the list because we give it the food key, and the food key holds these values here. Once we do that, we effectively have this list over here. So now we have 0, 1, 2. We want to access the last item, so we get that by using the index notation and changing it to pair. Now pretty much updating is the same as well. So if I wanted to completely get rid of this or change the value of this dictionary key, so food, we could just assign it a string, so oranges. And now when we run this, we no longer have a list, we just have a string. Now the second method of updating a list is using the keyword update. So again, with the same dictionary, we could do dictionary.update and simply give it the key value. Sorry, we have to first give it the key. So key is basically that. The only thing though is we need to put it in a dictionary format. Whoops. Right there. And now we want food to actually go back to a list. So let's have just apples in here. And now when we print this dictionary, we only get apples. You could use the update method to add another item as well. So long as the key doesn't exist, keep in mind if the key exists, it'll basically replace this value. So we could have animals and then just copy this right here. We have a list and we can do another print statement on this dictionary, run it. Now we've got animals and then we have cat, dog, and mouse. Sorry, moose. So pretty much these don't have to be the same. I'm just using lists and strings as an example. Ideally you would use objects, which we might get into a later video. You can have strings, you can have integers, and again you can reference lists, tuples, integers, strings, whatever, so long as it's a key value pair. So what we can also do is delete items from a list. So let me get rid of all of this. Actually, let's get rid of the print statements. Over there. Yep. So let me add another entry in here. I can just do numbers equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we do a print on this empty dictionary and we have numbers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Say I don't want this element in here, so this key value pair. Simply we could do a delete. Actually you'd have to write it like that, del, and then give it the dictionary with its key to be want to delete. So I want to delete the food. So food, and now when we print the empty dictionary, which is actually not really empty, but anyway, we are basically left with just this key value pair, so food is no longer there. Just keep in mind, if we try to access a key that does not exist, we get a key error. So if key error basically means you're trying to access an item that doesn't exist in this dictionary. So we could also have a length function in this. So basically the length function, just like it sounds like, gets the length of a certain data type. So in this case, we can encapsulate this empty dictionary in a len function, delete this, and then we do another len. And when we run it, we have these numbers. So to begin with, we have these two, and these two are elements. And then we have just one because we delete this. So this no longer exists. So if I do a print statement on this empty dictionary over here, yep, so we start with 1, 2, then we're left with just 1. And finally, if we wanted to just clear out a dictionary, we would have to call it. So let's say I want to do the populated dictionary dot clear, basically clears everything from a dictionary. Now we print this dictionary and we basically have nothing because we've cleared the whole dictionary. So I do a print statement in here, pop detect, and now we run. So we have this, and then we go to that. So pretty much cleared the whole dictionary. So we could also combine dictionaries. To do that, we first need to pick which dictionary we want another dictionary to be in. So say I wanted empty dictionary to be inside this pop dict in here. Let me get rid of all of these right here. So let me do a print of before. So pop dict. And now we basically have to use the update statement. So pop dictionary dot update and just give it the dictionary we want to merge with. And now we print the populated dictionary. And this is what we get right here. So initially we started off with this. Now we've merged this dictionary. So not much when it comes to dictionaries. Just keep in mind that key value pairs don't have to be exactly the same. You can have a string for integer, so like I've done over here. You can have a list for a tuple, just as long as it's something Python can recognize. You can do all sorts of cool things with dictionaries. Pretty much they act like real life dictionaries. So you search up a word and you get its definition. Similarly, you search up its value by getting its key. So you can always go from a key to a value. However, you can never go back from a value to a key, because I could simply have 1, 2, 3 here, and I can have 1, 2, 3 here. Dictionaries aim to be unique, and if you ever use a key that already exists in the dictionary, keep in mind that it gets overridden. So one final example I can do with the dictionary is leave these like this. I could do, so I can just add one more thing. So in here, key equals none. I print this populated dictionary, and there we go. So keep in mind, key, lowercase k, uppercase k aren't the same thing. They're two different things in Python. So just keep that in mind. They are case sensitive. And I think that does it for this video. See you guys in the next one.